Finally, justice is coming for the slain Christian population, including non-Christians. Shocking development and move by the United States government. I told people, never you dare the resolve of Trump to fight the cause of injustice. As far as the Christian genocide massacre is concerned, forget about whatever is flying on the social media. People ranting and making noise. America has the evidence, overwhelming evidence before they embark on a journey. Before they first pronounce whatever they want to do, they have been working on it for several months, if not years. Now the chicken has come home to roast. Finally, justice is coming. It is a conspiracy against humanity. And wherever there is a threat against humanity, anywhere in the world, there is a threat against the entire humanity. And this informs the reason why America, being, of course, one of their foreign policies to promote human dignity, the rule of law, and the fundamental human rights. These are one of their foreign policies, regardless of whatever interruption or intervention or altercation coming from any end, it is immaterial. Now, do you know what is happening currently? Certain personalities are on the run. Both the current serving government officials, governors, and the rest of the senators, they are on the run, including traditional rulers. The latest move by the U.S. congressmen, of course, has left serious panic in the Nigerian political sphere. Let me read you this. There is a breaking news. Nigeria Religious Accountability Act of 2025. The U.S. senators have drafted Nigeria Religious Accountability 2025, and a bill now with the U.S. legislature. It is a bill with the U.S. legislators. And apart from that, over 48 governors, of course, will be used as scapegoats. 48 governors, religious leaders, senators, judges, traditional rulers, sponsoring terrorism from Obasanjo era till date has been compiled for heavy sanction and to face international criminal courts. You know what that means? I told you that US are not here to make noise. They are not your mates. When they meant business, they set out to fight for the cause of justice, criminality, and terrorism. Everyone involved must go down. Everyone involved must be trapped, must be tracked. It doesn't matter where you fly. If they can invade Iran with remarkable ease, who else? Where would be the hiding place for these people? Nemesis is possibly catching up with them. The blood of the slain innocent women and children, rounded up and burnt alive, is crying unto God. And Donald Trump is not resting, of course, and will not rest until justice is served for those people who were gruesomely murdered in their homes at night. They went to bed, could not wake up again. These are what we are saying, that wherever there's injustice, people should speak out against it before it escalates. It has gotten to the point that the northern Christians, northern population are crying out. They are helpless, including senators. Just like KB South, senator cried out at the Senate plenary, shouting that our lives are in danger. These are not ordinary men, senators. Kogi's senator, Kogi West, Senatorial District, Kwara West, Senatorial District, they were crying. These are not northern region, let alone to talk about Plateau, Benue, Taraba, Gombe, and the rest, Bauchi, and the rest of them, Sokoto. So these people has been crying, displaced from their homes without any definite program to return them back to their homes. Now, of recent, Mahmoud Sharif or so, was denying that he was not the founder of Boko Haram, shifting it to Shetima, the vice president, and the rest of them, allegedly. But now the US have taken time to compile, to make up their list, because they have their findings and intelligence. You can't beat them as far as intelligence is concerned. So before you say Jack Robinson, they have everything at the fingertips. Now recall when the Donald Trump administration summoned the president of South Africa, asking him, why are white people being killed in South Africa? The president of South Africa was denying or ranting and making noise. Says something never happened. That it is just mischievous and intended to discredit his government and the rest of them, just as what is happening now in Nigeria by Tinubu's media handlers and the rest of them. Compounding more the problem for Tinubu. You see? Now, Donald Trump showed South African president, what is that his name again? Is immaterial, but he showed him the pictures, the video clips of what was going on in South Africa. And he could no longer speak. He was dumbfounded. How did these people get these informations? How did they get these details? It was a shock to them. They were dumbfounded. I mean, South African president was dumbfounded. In fact, if possible, he may have shit in his pants in the local pilots. Say, for them, poo for body. How could these people, these people are very dangerous. So it is happening now. What appears to be a dramatic turn of events. It is not just ending up in mere tweeting. America is taking up the challenge. America is at the forefront of this fight for the defenseless and voiceless population that have been silenced, for those who survived, as they crying out. The slain, the martyred, are crying out to God for vengeance. And God have laid it in the hearts of Donald Trump that he will never rest until justice, until those terrorists and their sponsors and their conspirators are being made to serve the cause of justice. Heavy sanctions and summoning at the International Criminal Court is coming upon them. Possibly, majority of them will be scoring for safety, for a hideout and the rest of them. But America does not begin something they could not end, especially when it has to do with their interests. And this interest is justifiable. Humanity first. Wherever there is terrorism is no longer limited to certain regions. It has become a global threat. And that is the reason why America is coming. They don't need an excuse or permission from the Nigerian government, unlike some people are ranting at the social media, because they don't understand the gravity of the consequences of this. Recall when one of the American SEALs was kidnapped by the Boko Haram, America never sought for the consent of Nigerian government to rescue their own citizen. You know what happens? They carried out the operations, they did whatever they did successfully and rescued their own personnel, and they went back before announcing it. You don't know what that means. Because it is a global threat. Wherever there is terrorism, the act of terrorism, and anyone supporting, abetting it should be considered as an accomplice. Now, the Christian Religious Accountability Bill is now at the U.S. legislative table. You know what that means? Not just that religious accountability, of course, be, but the people, alleged people, to have been culpable, not even alleged now, because the evidence are there. You can't deny it. Even your call tracking and it will also be monitored, will be reviewed. They have the technology and the rest, so there is no way everyone who is culpable in this particular issue will be spared. That is just the case. And possibly counting their days and the rest of them. And they should be able to account for their role in whatever has happened and also prove their innocence. They should be given opportunity to prove their innocency, and whereby they are guilty, of course. You know what? America does not have respect for status or whatever. If you are found culpable, at the end of the day, you will be sanctioned and meant to face the course of the law. It is not Nigeria where everything is possible. We've had cases where the names of the sponsors were published by foreigners, but just like United Arab Emirates, at a certain time, American government also published the sponsors of these people. So they have details, they have documentations, they are following up. You're just waiting for the right time to strike. But when they saw that the version is becoming too high, unbearable, and the U.S. silence could be considered as a conspiracy, an accomplice to the gross violations of fundamental human rights and dignity of humans, which have been desecrated over the years. Now it is time for everyone to answer his father's name. Definitely there is jittering, there is panicking, there is uncertainty engulfing the air. Some people might die of heart attack and the hypertension. Definitely is a time. It's a season whose time has come. A season for judgment, a season for retribution, a season for consequences, for actions and inactions. That is just the simple truth. And no one could continue to live in denial of these realities. Whether America is coming, or definitely they're already here. With this move, they're already here, and you know what that means to Tinubu's administration. That if Tinubu poses any resistance or any sign or body language suggesting otherwise, with this overwhelming evidence, then definitely he might be looking for something to support himself because he can't stand with this. Right from Obasanjo time, Obasanjo time was when the Sharia law was enacted in the first place. You see, Obasanjo, being selfish of his third term bid, wanted to please certain northern clerics and political class, and thinking that with this, he could pave a way for his third term bill. You see how greedy he is, how greedy Obasanjo is. He wants to abolish the provision of the Constitution that allows for two tenure for somebody eligible for two tenure. You want to set it aside and become a lifetime president. But that wasn't possible because there are people who maintain their integrity, who never want to sell out their dignity and respect at the platter of monetary inducement. That's why when they are saying that Igbo man like money, Igbo man are people, a typical Igbo man is a man of integrity, is a man of honor, a man who stood and stands for values and virtues. Ken Nnamani resisted him. As the Senate president then, he decks the president, Obasanjo. The records are there. Otherwise, he would have opted for, let's say, okay, give me money and the rest of it. He said, no, this is not good and should be resisted. It contravenes the provision of the Constitution, fairness and justice. This such excessive give, uh, excessive greed must be checked. You have tested power and power corrupt absolutely. We saw how gross violations with hunting down opponents and rivals, or those who opposed him. Even Atiku also opposed his re-election bid, third term bid. And he fell out with Atiku and the rest of them who never allowed him to skate through. Use EFCC and the rest of them to be fighting them. That is to tell you how wicked an average Nigerian politician, majority of them are. How selfish, wicked, insensitive, and irresponsible our leaders has become. So eventually, Sharia law was adopted first in Zamfara today. What is happening in Zamfara? They thought that with Sharia law, everything they needed in life has been accomplished. Is there any peace in Zamfara today? Katsina and other northern parts adopted it. About 12 then. I don't know if eventually with what is happening, unfortunately, that have destroyed the peace, the serenity the North once enjoyed. Yes, I was born and I was born in Kano State, so I spent my early years in Kano. It was a peaceful, serene region, but suddenly has turned to a killing field, a theater of war. That is quite unfortunate. But indeed, all hope is not lost because the compilation of this list involves not less than 48 governors. 48 governors from Obasanjo time, that is the era of return of democracy, 1999. To this point, how many years? So you know what that is telling us? That wickedness will not go unpunished. Whatever you have done or contributed that fuel this crisis, this religious crisis, leading to the death of tens of thousands of innocent Nigerians, and humanity as a constituency will not go unpunished. So don't mistake the resolve of Donald J. Trump. He is not gambling. He's not just leaving it to chances. America senators, legislators are serious about this. And you know what? When America sneezes, of course, the world trembles. The world quakes. In terms of military might, intelligence, technical know-how, and whatever. You can't beat them. They control the technology, the world, the chips. So they will be able to pick every details they needed. It's at their disposal already. And the coming days and weeks will be, of course, a moment to watch as the drama, the lifetime drama and historic events continue to unravel. And those slain, population, masses, might possibly rest in peace when justice is served. Religious leaders are not left. Religious leaders who are found culpable, denying the obvious, the reality, the heinous crime against humanity by these nefarious and dastard elements under any disguise, of course, will be caught in this web. The senators, you saw what the governor of Benue State said. Several senators, serving senators in the Federal Republic of Nigeria are behind this crazy attack and massacre on indigenous communities, on defenseless population of women and children involved. That is a war crime. A war crime, the most horrifying war crime in the history of humanity. And people have been displaced in their homes and ancestral abode. Now the traditional rulers are caught up. You see, when the rain will be falling, nobody will be exempted. Those who were involved, of course, they are getting their intels and informations at their disposal. So it's not something that is cooked up or they deceive. You will deceive America, right? And some people are creating certain that you will deceive America. What brain, what technology, what knowledge do you have? What military mind do you have? What technological advancement do you have to beat or deceive America? Is it a joke? Is it a lie? Is it a play? Now, sponsoring terrorism from Obasanjo era to date have been compiled for heavy sanctions. Wow, that is quite an interesting development. Let's have your own take regarding this. Don't forget, before you leave here, give us a thumbs up. Look at the subscription button. Turn on the subscription button, of course, and so that you can get our videos. Before you leave, take a moment to give us a thumbs up. Look at the subscription button, click on the subscription button, turn on the notification buttons so that you can get our videos once it's been uploaded. Let me have your own perspective regarding this update. It is happening. It's never a fiction. Of course, in a matter of days and weeks, America is prepared. You know, Donald Trump has given his brief that this operation in Nigeria could not just be airstrike, but military ground, military operations. You know what that means? Operation Mbocha is underway because the Odachi has already happened.